scrimmage, like a game simulation kind of thing? A lot of plays.
Yeah, we kind of simulated a game, like you said. We kind of had a 4-quarter setup and kept rotating between the ones and the twos, offense and defense, and had special teams periods in between. So it was more of a like a scrimmage kind of setup.
Long workout before the weekend, right? Before you get some time off.
Exactly. Trying to simulate a game and trying to get back into that flow of game week. Take a couple days off, get ready for next week.
How did the game go for Jordan Love and the one offense?
I think as practice always is, there's some good things and there's some not so good things. So it's one of those things where, going against our defense, but kind of trying to run some plays for Detroit. So not everything's going to, play out exactly how we want it, but it's good work. It's always good work to be able to, anytime we can go out there, see different looks and just, kind of rely on our rules and the fundamentals of just playing the plays out. But some good stuff and some not so good.
What's it like trying to get some light speed reps with guys who weren't all together for all of camp?
Say it again?
Because you're trying to make up for lost time with reps with people who are out injured. What's it like? Are you trying to cram as many reps as you can into a practice, or what's that been like?
No, I think that's just the natural flow. Try and build those guys back in as best you can, and obviously want to keep everybody as healthy as possible going into week one. But like you said, it's a kind of trying to find that balance of getting them back and reacclimated in the offense, and also trying to keep them as healthy as possible. So I think you go about it the normal way. You don't try and just force everybody in there for every play.
Jordan, how does the thumb feel for you right now?
Feels good. Feels good right now. So obviously back out here, pretty much doing everything now, and just keeping it protected, keeping it braced up. But it feels really good right now.
Is there any part of that is giving you a problem, whether it be snaps, handoffs, anything like that?
No, snaps. Everything is going good with snaps, and handoffs right now. We're staying just with the right hand, trying to keep that thing protected as much as possible and not just take any unnecessary hits right now. So, but everything feels good.
Is there a mental retraining process with the handoff only being the right hand? Like, how have you kind of undergone doing it in that way?
No, I think it's one of those things you kind of adjust on the fly. But I always think anytime you have an injury or anything, there's always kind of a mental aspect of retraining yourself, getting back comfortable when you're not, quite 100%. Just feeling comfortable getting back from injury is always there's always a mental piece.
Is there any concern for that at all for week one, or do you think it'll be 100%?
No, I have no concern for it.
On that practice after the Jets game that Monday, what was it? Lack of strength? Was it pain? What was the things that you experienced when you said, "We gotta get this fixed"?
When it first happened?
Yeah.
No, it was just dealing with. I had no stability in my thumb, which you have no stability there. There's no strength as well. So it's pretty much like a limp thumb. I couldn't really do much with it, and it's just something that I wasn't. Before the season, I'm not trying to be dealing with that throughout the course of the season. Who knows if that would have, kept getting re-injured, kept just getting messed up, and who knows how that would have been going through a whole season. So I think, and, doctors' opinions, things like that, thought the best decision was just go ahead, get the surgery knocked out, and try and get back to as 100% as possible before the season.
We know what that's like to deal with injuries that linger throughout the season. But how much of last year was just, when this thing came up, just not wanting to do that anymore?
Yeah, it's definitely not fun, and I think especially the season not having started yet, having a little bit of time, that's one of those things that played a big role in that, especially last year. It's not fun playing through injuries, and, if you have a chance to try and fix something and get back 100%, why not do it?
Jordan, do you have any idea how long you have to have the thumb, wrapped up, and how long you have to go through this?
Yeah, it'll be some time. It'll be some weeks having it braced up and just keeping it protected. It's one of those things. We'll play by ear as I start getting into games and seeing how it feels. Once you get back to live contact, and but there'll be some time having it braced up.
With muscle memory, you're used to handing off with the hand you're supposed to hand off. Have you ever had to catch yourself in practice? But no, you got to use the other hand.
No, not yet. I'm doing a good job of just trying to keep that thing protected, and it hasn't been too hard to just think about handing off with the right, which is not that much of a big deal. Handing off with the right hand is not as big of a deal as I think you guys might think it might be.
Jordan, do you feel sharp, Jordan, considering the training camp was probably a little different than you imagined with 7-on-7 and missing a couple days and all that?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I got to get back into a rhythm. I think before having an injury and just the way training camp was going, I think we were having a great training camp. I was feeling really good. And I think just anytime you have to take a couple days off, and obviously just doing 7-on-7, not having the live action with the O-line, D-line in front of you, you just got to get back in that rhythm, get back in that flow, which, it takes a couple days to get back into. But I'm feeling good. Was feeling good today, and I think we'll be back on next week.
Jordan, I understand the handoff thing isn't as big of a deal as we think it is, but I'm going to ask you another question about it. What's more, I don't want to say dangerous, but maybe potential of a turnover or a fumble? Handing it off with your left hand on a right side run with the brace on your left hand, or doing it with your right hand, which is not usually the hand you use?
That's a good question. I'd say for right now, left hand. Just based on how I'm feeling, things like that, trying to grip the ball. But at the end of the day, a handoff is, you shouldn't usually have any fumbles on a handoff. You shouldn't. So it's one of those things. If there is a fumble or something like that, it's something that we just got to figure out what happened, what went wrong, and clean it up. But the backs are good enough to be able to take that handoff, and really I'm just laying it out there ready for them to go take it. So there hasn't been any issues, and I don't think there will be. But yeah.
When week one comes, do you have to mentally change a few things for you on the field? Whether that's okay, well they got some pressure coming, I got to get the ball out a little faster to avoid any, whether that's sack or any conflicts with your thumb.
No, I'm gonna go in with the mindset to just play it, how I would play it, if I wasn't dealing with a thumb injury. So, no, I think that's always just the case though. Playing quarterbacks, you're always trying to figure out how to get the ball in your hands and get to the playmakers, and obviously you never want to take a hit as a quarterback. You want to avoid that at all costs. So that's just the game within the game. But no, I'm gonna be playing it true to how I would if nothing happened.
Going back to Bill's question, I'm watching you pick everything apart in the 7-on-7s, and I'm thinking, boy, you probably get used to this whole no rush thing. How much are you able actually to get out of the 7-on-7?
No, you still get a lot of good work. Just reading the defense, reading your concepts, and you try your best, obviously, with no rush to stay on tempo with the timing. And, if it's not, you can easily just start sitting there and hanging on stuff, waiting for stuff to get open. But that's part of playing the quarterback position is you got to put yourself in that game. Imagine there's a rush there, try and get through your reads as fast as possible and get the ball out. But it is, it's different. Not having anybody in front of you, no rush. Feel like you got all day back there. But that's kind of the part that you got to keep training yourself, pushing yourself to act like, you're in the game and there is a rush.
In an ordinary camp, you're meeting with guys away from the practice field all the time, so that's not new. Have you need to do that even more with Jaden? Just not having those reps baked in to stay on the same page and build that chemistry?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, especially when I was out, we got back to throwing on the side, trying to get some extra reps in, just throwing. But obviously, like I said, it's tough with what they've been dealing with, not being able to, go out there and push it full speed yet. So, we're getting them back and getting them reacclimated, and they're out there doing routes for us air and things like that. So, that's where it starts. But we definitely got some good work in those days I was out.
Jordan, Matt told us that you guys formed a leadership council. I guess first time since you've been here. How did that come about, and what do you think the purpose of it is? I'm assuming you know.
Yeah, no, we've had a. We had a leadership council. I want to say the first couple of years when I was here. I probably just. I don't know if Matt said that, but it might have.
It was the first time since his first year.
It might have been in the captains, but I think they had something, I believe. But no, it's something that I think is good. It's good to just have some people to be able to meet, and Matt can relay messages to us, and we can be the guys to relay those messages to the rest of the team, and vice versa. Relay other messages from players to the coach, and just how guys feel. So I always think that's a good way to just keep that communication flowing. And obviously, if there's anything that comes up, we can talk amongst ourselves and figure that out.
Jordan, you've talked about being a more vocal leader and taking that on more this offseason. Did you have any message for the guys now as they depart for some days off before you get down to it for week one?
Yeah, no, the messages that we always have anytime we have a couple of days off is, carry that G with you everywhere you go. Everybody is always watching you, and, people know who you are wherever you go. And obviously, with where we're at, week one next week, just be smart. I think everybody in this locker room knows what's at stake and knows what's ahead of us, and we're ready to have a great year. So just be smart, take care of your body. Stay in shape, stay ready, and just stay locked in for week one.
How do you go about preparing for week one when you're facing a team that's changed coordinators and you might get some unscouted looks and whatnot, and it's week one, so you haven't really seen much of that.
Yeah, no, you go into it knowing that there's going to be unscouted looks. You try and watch as much tape as possible from the coordinator, wherever they were at before. Obviously, he was with the Lions, so you try and watch as much tape as possible from the years before. You watch how the players move out there, kind of just their tendencies they have, and just expect that there might be some new coverages, some new tendencies that they have, and just it's almost like a preseason game. You know what I mean? So we know that going into it, and I think week one is always like that. Whether new coordinator or not, teams might have some new wrinkles in their scheme, so you always got to be ready for the unexpected.
Matthew Golden ran a jet sweep the other day. He hit the quarterback precisely the right time. And I asked him about the timing was good. I said, when's the best way to work on it? He said, the walkthroughs. The walkthroughs help him in terms of figuring out exact the amount of steps he needs to take and all that. Talk about your end and getting the timing down on plays like that with those guys.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, the quarterback just has to time the snap count up. We're sending these motions, and you just got to do a good job of knowing when to snap the ball. And obviously we have, landmarks and rules for, when we snap the ball for each motion. So that plays a part in just knowing the offense, knowing the system. And like you said, the walkthroughs those are always great times to be able to just get those mental reps and obviously work on some things that we might not be able to work at every rep in practice. So walkthroughs are great.
Speaking of timing, Jordan, obviously you've taken thousands of snaps, practice field and whatnot with Jaden and Wicks and people so on. Obviously you were hurt, they were hurt. Can you just kind of pick up where you left off, or is it going to take some time to get back to where you need to be?
No, you always wish that you can just pick up where you left off, but it's one of those things that I definitely think it will take a little bit of time to get back in that rhythm, and it's expected. It's similar to like coming back for training camp. It's going to take us a couple days to get back in that rhythm and get back in that flow, but I think those guys are pros. They know what they need to do. This isn't their first year, so I don't think it'll be an issue for them.
Jordan, you have a lot of first, second, and third year players still on the roster, like almost half of them is that. Is that sort of where the improvement for the team has to be, as these guys make that push forward, as they get their second and third year? Is that really important for this team?
I think that's important, but I think it's everybody. Everybody's got to be at their best, no matter what year you're in. No matter how much experience you got. You always got to be at your best every day. That's just the job of an NFL player, and I think for those young guys, first, second, third year guys, it's all about learning and building upon every rep, and obviously improving every year and trying to maximize your time here. So, but I think that's for everybody. Everybody's got to be at their best and find stuff to improve on, because if you're not, you're going to be getting worse. So that's a challenge for everybody.
Jordan, obviously the expectation and the hope is you stay 100% healthy for 17 games, and the only time we see Malik is in mop-up duty of blowouts. Mm-hmm. But what do you think of how far he's come, and how is your working relationship? Because now without Sean here, you're going to need him even more to help you get prepared for games. Mm-hmm. What did you think of what he's put together, and what's your relationship like?
Yeah, no, me and Leak got a great relationship. I think he's been a great addition to that room, and obviously, going into year 2 in this offense for him, I think he's done a great job just understanding the system a lot better. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's one of those guys that, once he gets live into action, a whole nother kind of skill set comes out with his legs and his off-schedule plays. So I think you guys have been able to see how special of a player he is and how much potential he has. And I think he's still just scratching the surface of what he can do. And I think everybody in this locker room, based on what he did last year, has confidence that if anything happens and I'm not able to go, that he'll be able to step in and run the ship. So I think everybody here has a lot of confidence in Malik, and I think he's earned it. The way he's came in and worked. So like I said, we got a great relationship, great quarterback room. It's fun to be a part of, but I think he'll be ready if his name's ever called.